Well, hello. Give me just a moment to find where my notes are. I do apologize. It has been too long. Well, two things. Well, okay, here we go. Case 4? No, 3? No. No, that's 3. Where's case 4? Case 4. Okay, here we are. Yeah, it's kind of like a combination of me not feeling well the past week and being kind of sidetracked and distracted by other stuff. I will be honest here. I started messing around with RPG Maker again, which I do from time to time. And it's just like, I find my old projects and I'm like, you know what, I might still be able to salvage something out of this. And it's like, and I just get kind of hung up on it for a while. It's a nice little creative outlet every now and then. And I probably needed an outlet for a little bit. So, anyway, Ace Attorney. I need to continue with this. We were in the middle of this here. Actually, we didn't really do... My notes are very, very brief about this here. Only some notes about basic stuff, so... I'm gonna continue. Yes, my mic is on this time. I see that it is. My mic is not muted or missing. The snowman is still there. It looks as though the police are still here, carrying on with their investigation. Ding! Perfect. So let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible. Yes, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips and his fish to look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him. Okay, I'm starting to remember what we did last time. We spoke to Iris back in Mr. Sholmes' place, and she gave us a thing to authorize Fish and Chips Man to talk to us. Okay, inspect this. This is a 5 shilling piece, isn't it? Maybe it's called a crown. Even though there's no crown on it. Yes, you can train a Scotland Yard detective to do whatever you want with just a single one of these, because we can bribe the police. Iris must be the most powerful 10-year-old in the world. Yeah, it is kind of weird that she's a 10-year-old. It's like, okay, we'll go along with it. Like, I'm trying to think, like, how old Pearls was. She was pretty young. I don't know if she was 10. She might have been like 9 or something in the original Ace Attorney games. How much is 5 shillings, by the way? What's it really worth? It's worth 5 shillings. Well, it's probably enough to buy all the chips the inspector could possibly eat in a whole month. That's a lot of fish. That's greasy. Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem. Ours' little handwriting is adorbs, isn't it? Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem. Yes, the handwriting might be adorable, but the message is ominous. There's no room for sentiment there. I'm sure it's I'm sure it's simply the way you're interpreting it, Mr. Naruhodo. Anyway, I do hope the inspector will tell us what we need to know when he reads it. You don't think it will just make him munch piping hot chips until steam comes out of his ears, do you? Why are we completely neglecting the fish? It's not just chips, there's fish. It's fish and chips, not just chips. He has an infinite amount of fish and chips in his little hand. That is an incredible superpower. Maybe not a useful one, but it's still pretty amazing. Well, that wouldn't be an entirely terrible outcome. Alright. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment? I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk to a pair of foreign gadabouts, that's for sure. I'm too busy with my fish and chips, as you can see. We have these for you. This thing for you. Oh, yeah, the coin and the card. A present from Miss Iris Wilson. What? Nani? Oh wait, that's not the right word. What? For me, from her ladyship? Her ladyship? Give that here, at once. Come on, hand it over. That's for me. Ah, don't wait for me to give it to you, will you? Yes. That's a proper crown. I just ate the whole thing. What was that coin exactly? It's a silver crown, obviously, but it's a lot more than that. It's an appearance fee. That's what it is. An appearance fee? Oh, I see. You mean... Actually, no, I don't know. That's right. For the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. Her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me every time. Yes, of course, I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly. Wasn't this dude just complaining the last time about how he's portrayed in the Sherlock Holmes stories? And yet now he's like, oh yes, I'm excited to be portrayed in the stories now. It's like, what? I mean, I guess if you're getting paid, I mean, it probably would change your attitude about it. Of course, her using my name without my say-so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still, as long as I'm being paid. I am sorry, Inspector. That must be so difficult for you. Never you mind that. So, what do you want to know then, huh? Sorry? Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem, it says. Well, obviously it's not a problem. Go on, fire away. What do you want to know? Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector. We'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings. Ah, the little knife-wielding mustache Japanese fellow. He lives in a right old hovel. It's just over there. Look. The crooked building? Oh. On the first floor of that house, on the corner where that wreck of a bicycle's propped up. So wait, he lived like right next to where the incident happened? He didn't run very far. That is nearby indeed. If I remember rightly, the landlord is a Mr. John Garrideb? Right, well, if you see her again, you make sure you give her ladyship my regards, you hear? I mean it. You tell her that Gregson sends his very best wishes. Don't worry, Inspector. We will. Goodbye for now, then. And long live her ladyship. Okay. That's interesting. Well, at least he told us what we wanted to know before he left. Yes, so then, shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings? Definitely. Why does he have a cannon in his apartment? That'd be kind of hard to get in there. Oh. May I help you? Yes. Would this be the residence of Mr. John Garadeb? Indeed, of good sir. And who, may I say, is calling? My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Soseki Natsume. I believe he takes lodging here. We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client. One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garadeb. Did you see that, Miss Usato? That woman had what's called very puffy cheeks filled out. That was a real-life English maid. Ryunosuke is into maids. I know. As I understand it, anyone of standing in English society employs a number of household staff. But that was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better and better. It certainly feels like we've really arrived now, doesn't it? Authentic cannons inside the rooms. Yeah. We need only to meet a butler, and the experience will be complete. No. We haven't met the we haven't met like the palace guard people with the Cossack hats on. We haven't met them yet. They're out there somewhere. I'm sure Susato will be impressed by them as well. Well, I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment. Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garadeb will see you now. This way. Going to examine. Looks like a Medal of Honor, and it's showcased on a very grand banner. Yes, it's displayed with some pride, I would say. Although it bothers me that it's not straight. Oh my lord, it's the Moon Man. Oh, like... I don't remember the guy's name. What was he part of a McDonald's ad or something? This is like back in the 80s, early 90s. There was like a Moon Man dude. I don't remember what it was actually a part of, what it was called. It was like a man whose head was the shape of a crescent moon. I don't remember what it was called. I'm sorry, that's just what he reminds me of. Let's see, what voice should I give him? What? That old thing? Sorry. Should be glad to see the back of it, but the general would turn in his grave if I disposed of it. The wall's the best place for it. It keeps the belly things out of my way. So it's just been polished to shine by accident, I suppose. There appears to be an inscription on the metal itself. Look. Let me see. It says, For distinguished participation. It's a participation award. Sounds like the kind of honors even I could be in line for. Well, one doesn't like to blow one's own trumpet, but I was given that for my time in the army. Can't measure an officer by the number of medals to his name, of course. Common knowledge in military circles. He is stirring his tea with the end of his pipe. Wouldn't he be like dumping his pipe ashes into his tea? That doesn't seem like a good idea. Look at that enormous screen. It must have been put there deliberately, surely. Yes, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from view. Maybe it's a bathtub. What could be behind it, I wonder? I'm going to have a very quick look. Just a little peek. Maybe let's not, Miss Usato. I think the maid is going to head us off with a cup of tea. That's a full-sized cannon. What's it doing here? Oh my, it's real. I thought it might be a replica. That old thing? Nah, that's little more than a toy. Sorry. The army was selling it off when I retired, so I decided to give it a new home. Never know when the enemy might attack next. Jolly useful to have a cannon about the house. Really? It isn't overkill? I mean, I'm sure trying to fire that inside the apartment is probably not a good idea. It'll probably just blow up your apartment. Be prepared, I always say. You never know what this twisted world is going to throw at you next, boy. Do you think there may be trouble brewing, Mr. Garradeb? Always is. Take Joan there. Never fails to have a clean apron in reserve. Dries them over the barrel, you see. Yeah, do my things there. They dry very well on the cannon there. Joan tells me. Which rather proves my point, I feel. It's been reduced to a drying rack. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging its head in shame. I notice you have a pile of books here, Mr. Garradeb. Do you enjoy reading? Do you enjoy reading? Ever experienced a London winter, boy? The nights are long. No better way to pass the time than in front of a fire with a jolly good book. Oh, there's a copy of Rance magazine here, I see. My favorite publication. No doubt Mr. Garradeb enjoys The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, too. The great detective has a great many followers, it would seem. That uniform looks fairly ancient, doesn't it? It's clearly been well looked after, though. That old thing? Not much better than rags, really. Oh? More of that ceremonial garb at my retirement bash, you know. But I'm not one for dwelling on the past me. Would have gladly thrown it out, but you know how it is. Anyway, it doesn't hurt to have an odd piece of memorabilia lying around, does it? Oh, I see. I see. Perhaps we should leave the past in the past. This window looks out over Briar Road, where a young woman was attacked. Oh yes, I can make out the policeman on the far side of the road investigating the crime scene, so you probably could have seen the crime from here. Potentially. The glass is rather murky, isn't it? You can't see very clearly. Oh. Does this thing open at all, I wonder? I shouldn't underestimate the bitterness of a London winter, sir. Sorry. As soon as you open that window, the tea will freeze in the pot. No Londoner would go opening windows at dusk in the middle of winter, I assure you. Seems very unlikely that these two would have seen anything of the incident then. Or would they? Oh, look. What a wonderful collection of cakes lined up on that gleaming silver cake stand. Lined up looks more like someone has half demolished on me. Afternoon tea is a time of indulgence, you know. It is quite the English way. It is Mr. Garrideb's custom to take 2 cakes with his tea. That sounds delightful. Oh, wait a minute though. There are at least 10 cakes on this cake stand. Well, naturally. And it would never do to waste the leftovers. So whatever Mr. Garrideb doesn't eat, I say to myself, Joan, you shall have to tidy up. Well, we know where those extra cakes go. How magnanimous of you. This entire house is crooked. Look at this crockery on display here. It's rather unusual, isn't it? Oh my, a genuine London dresser. Isn't it delightful? Everything's so delightful. Although the shelves seem to be broken and the crockery is... Oh dear, it's in pieces. Yeah, everything's kind of smashed up. It really is. The word cracked wouldn't do that chinaware justice, and I just noticed something too. I'll point out in a moment. Ah, I wonder. Perhaps the cannon was fired at it. Yes, probably something like that, but let's not delve too deeply here. What I was going to point out was the candle, and there's a candlestick right here. So how did the candlestick get down here? I wonder if that's going to be important for something later. This old candle holder looks a little out of place here, wouldn't you say? Yes, you're right. It's clearly supposed to be gold, but it's almost completely black for some reason. Is it though? It looks kind of fine to me in the picture. I mean, that's not really the thing that stands out to me about it. And, that old thing, yes. Just a cheap piece of ironmongery. Gimcrack, really. Oh. What is gimcrack? Used it when I was studying, don't you know? For my commission. I know it's old, hardly worth hanging on to, really. But, well, still, it has its uses sometimes. Of course. Does everything in this room have some elaborate story behind it? They're memories, Mr. Naruhodo. Memories. Oh yeah, I can't converse with him? Good day to you. John Garrideb, at your service. Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer. Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back in the Battle of Mainwand, don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, but had to withdraw from service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings. So he's a retired soldier. It's a hell of a job getting up and down stairs now, I can tell you. Don't get out much, as you can imagine. Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of this stairs. No, you aren't, Ryunosuke, come on. You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo. Do you think so? I mean, I doubt he would be panting. I mean, in this day and age, you walk everywhere. So it's like, why would you be tired from a set of stairs? Come on. Well, Mr. Garadeb, no doubt that you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal. So. Sorry about that. I'm in my bare feet, and I was like feeling like I'm stepping on something. I was like, what is under my feet? That's a piece of junk. Oh, it was nothing. The medal's just a folder roll. Folder roll? Really? A folder roll. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I grudgingly displayed it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joan? Let these good people see it properly. Joan, fetch it. Dash it all, woman. Be careful. Oh, dearie me. I do beg your pardon, sir. You jolly near took the skin off my hands. I shall be more careful, sir. So, anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now, with my incompetent maid, Joan. Yes, I see. I see all. I see all. Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging downstairs, is that right? Yes! We'll be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us. Only two, please, naturally. Especially if it helps to keep the peace here in Bitely. Bitey. We forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you're aware. So this case is very much in the public eye, as it were. Oh, is it? As I've been told so many times. Even had some famous detective poking around, you know. In this old house, would you believe? Yes, Mr. Hairlack Sholmes, the true protagonist of the story. Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea, all that detective business. Oh, but you have a copy of Rand's magazine here. Damn it, woman, I don't read it for the adventures of Hairlock Sholmes. I read it purely for the most recently discovered world. It's a great story. About giant lizard people. It's a much better story than Hairlock Sholmes. No. Anyway, the chap's investigating the foreigner's room as we speak. So he's in Soseki's son's room. Is he? Making some more inaccurate deductions, I presume. It's a bally nuisance is what it is. And this whole neighborhood's twitching its curtains now. Don't like all this fuss. It's jolly unsettling. Hold on. Clear throat time. Yes! Okay. About Mr. Natsumi then. Mr. Garadeb, please do tell us. Ah yes, a Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week. Oh, just 1 week. So he moved in very recently then. I have 2 lodgers most of the time. One on the ground floor and one just below us. The first floor room became available a week ago. And dash it all, Joan. Do be careful. I think you need to hire a new maid. 1 time's an accident, 2 times it's intentional. Oh my goodness. I'm terribly sorry, sir. Damn it. If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him. Oh? Why? He seemed to have a most nervous disposition, always shaking and looking over his shoulder. The man had a shady written across his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joe, that man is trouble. Sooner or later he's gonna do something untoward. And I'm really wrong about anything. We won't be calling this maid as a witness, that's for sure. Was there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all? Huh? Yes, oh yes, indeed there was. And she's dying to tell us. Alright. Had you noticed anything else at all about your lodger, Mr. Natsume? Yes. Oh my word, yes. The man was shadier than an orchid. Could you elaborate? Please don't. Well, take the man's room. Absolutely stuffed full of books it is. More than anyone could ever read. And he never so much as passes the time of day with another living soul. I hadn't seen a single visitor call. He just trots off to that old bookshop every single day. And comes back at 5 to light the gas fire. Oh god, this voice is hard to do. And the funniest little man is long past the time everyone else in the house is going to bed too. Oh, I see. The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed around 9 each night. But I've never known that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning. Ah. Ugh. Could you clarify something, I wonder? Or please don't. What, pray? How do you know so much about Mr. Natsumi's routine? Oh! I'm understood that neither of the lodgers live on this floor of the house, is that correct? That's right, yes. They're both below us, on the first floor and street level. And I'm so sweaty, there's so much hot tea in my crotch. Then how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? Since we spy on them. The precise times that they come back in the evening, for example. Even the times they go to bed. Ah! Good grief, Joan. Be more careful, woman. Oh my goodness, sir. I'm terribly sorry, sir. Something doesn't add up here. She poured her cup 3 times, and yet there's still tea inside that, pot there. How much tea is inside that pot? It doesn't add up. It's not mathematically possible to have that much tea in that pot. We will get to the bottom of this. It seems that the incident took place at around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out of the window at around that time? The window? Yes, that one right there. Yes, we noticed that the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement, just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby? 5 o'clock is dinner time in the Garadeb household. So I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joan? No, sir. It would have been dusk outside already at that hour. And with the fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road. Oh, I see. Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then? Such as? Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated. Well... Yes? Was there something then? Well, it's nothing... Don't you do that again, but... Ah! You... For the love of God, Joan, watch what you're doing! My goddamn... carrot has been burned off and well done now. You have boiled my grapes. They are well poached now. Oh dear me! What have I done? I'm awfully sorry, sir. Do be more careful, woman. Of course, sir. If I may, Mr. Narrow Hollow. Oh, yes? I have an extremely good memory, and as far as I remember, nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all. Why do I get the feeling she's lying? And she's gonna end up being called to be a witness? It's like, I have a perfectly good memory. That means I'm probably gonna be called as a witness in the trial. Oh really? Mr. Garadeb? The way you were talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been... Oh, well, do as you said, as a trifling matter, really, nothing of a... Joan, dash it all! What is the matter with you, woman? Can we just tell her to leave the room, please? She is clearly interfering with the witness here. Right now, my sus is kind of on her now. Like, we can question her in a separate room and him in another room, because this is getting kind of silly now. Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened. We weren't asking you, maid. So, STFU, and get out of this room, please. We're asking Moon Man here, not you. Don't answer for him. Yes, quite. Nothing happened. Sat down to a quiet, uneventful meal. Joe, well, you got me by the balls. Yep, you got hot tea on my balls. It's very tender now. That's right, Mr. Garadeb. What is the matter with these two? It sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident, but what? I wish I knew. As long as it didn't involve gonads and tea. It's just been happening all the time here. How much tea is all over this man now? He's got like 4 cupfuls of hot tea all over his crotch and waist now. He's gonna have some serious burns now. Because this is like hot coffee incident, like times 4. Unless the tea is cold, which I don't. I mean, come on, they don't serve cold tea in England. They have hot tea, so it has to be hot. Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsumi's room is on? And then the maid pours hot tea in his lap for a 5th time. We're like, no, we can't tell you what floor his room is on. Why, certainly. Just below us on the 1st floor. And Mr. Sholmes is investigating there, even as we speak. Yes, told me Natsu's name had asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key. Mr. Natsumi has engaged Mr. Sholmes' services. That's a blatant lie. It's Mr. Sholmes who, like, fingered him. Would it be alright if we also had a look around? In Mr. Natsumi's room, I mean. Don't see why not. It's just down 1 flight of stairs. Who knows if we'll find anything that could help us with the case, but we have to try. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we? Shall we? Yes. Don't say my lines, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, and while we're there, we can speak with Mr. Sholmes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more. It will be so exciting. Yay. Okay, here we go. Mr. Sholmes. Oh, that is a lot of books. There's a cat in here. What? Just look at this place. And smell it. It's so musty in here. It smells like cat poop in here. I suppose it's the mountains of old books that are responsible for that. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life. No, me neither. It's a bit of a fire hazard, don't you think? Yeah. It's definitely a fire hazard. It's so dark in here too. Even though there's a light on right there. Is that the window over there? You know, by saying window, you implying that there is an opening there. There is no opening, so therefore it is not a window. Well, it was the window, I think, yes, once upon a time. But for some reason it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. So this is where Mr. Natsumi lives. By the way, I haven't spotted Mr. Sholmes anywhere, have you? I'm really looking forward to meeting him again. No, that's true. But according to what Mr. Garadep told us, the great detective should be around here somewhere investigating. Underneath a pile of books, probably. He's gonna pop out and be like, whoa! And the cat wandered off to do its business. Oh my, what an adorable little cat. Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master is away. I don't know about that. He disappeared into a pile of books as quick as a flash. That's where the litter box is. It was a tricolor Mike, wasn't it? Do we even have that sort of cat here in Great Britain? Perhaps Mr. Natsumi brought the little creature with him from Japan. Obviously not on a Russian ship, because they wouldn't have allowed a cat to be on there. That's made me feel homesick now. For the SS Burya. Oh, it feels like that was so long ago now. Already? We've only been in the country for 2 days. That desk seems to be wedged into a crevasse between the mountains of books on either side. I suppose Mr. Natsumi would sit there and read while stroking his cat. But surrounded on all sides by these towering old tomes, surely he dreamt of books every night as well. Yes, he must have done, mustn't he? Oh, what's this? It's a receipt from a second-hand bookshop. Your books. Oh yes, Mr. Natsumi's name is on it. Look, and the date of purchase. 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m. That's the day of the incident. Evidence. That's just a short while before he was embroiled in the terrible attack. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books. Second-hand book receipt. Okay. We got evidence. Mr. Natsumi, the sum of 2 shillings turned for the receipt of the picture of Monsieur Lecoq. A meal for Gaboria, and Canterbury Yearnings. Your books, 4:45 p.m. Okay. So it proves that he did buy books. He bought 3 books. So okay, so he's living here. So where is the bookshop? I'm sure the map is going to become important. It's probably going to say where the bookshop is. And like bookshop's probably going to be like over here. And it's like, so he had to walk this way to home. Or it's going to say his bookshop was over here or something like that. And then it's going to come up in the trial. I'm going to have to be like, show that, oh no, he could not have walked by this way. Clearly the body was moved. Or something else like that. Look at all those books stacked up there. They almost reach the ceiling. They're all works of English literature. And they all smell so musty. With this volume of books to hand, you'd never be short of reading material, would you? Would you? No. What a dreamy idea. It's so dreamy, books. I dream of books. A bad dream, maybe. For me, at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the book that's at the bottom of the pile now will ever be read again. So reading. It is an experience that comes but once in a lifetime, just as the tea ceremony teaches us. I certainly didn't expect the conversation to turn down the path of tea ceremony philosophy. This appears to be some sort of meter on the wall here. It looks very robust. I wonder what it's for. There's a slot for inserting coins here too. I believe that is a gas meter, Mr. Naruhodo. A gas meter? Yes, it seems there's piped gas in this district, which consumers pay for by putting coins in the meter. Wow, that's even more of a fire hazard than before. There's gas being piped through here too. Wow. In a room with lamps and full of old books. And cat poop. It's a disaster waiting to happen. So if we were to put a coin in the slot, it would start a timer to destruction. That would be enough gas to use the lights and the gas fire for the whole night. So if you're too poor to have a coin, you'd have to spend the night in the dark and freezing cold. That's right. As would a rich man who only carried crisp white notes. And I don't think they take paper currency in the thing, so... London is a scary place. Pay up or die. Oh, look! It's a beckoning cat from home. It's a bit big and bulky, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsumi didn't bring that Maneki Neko all the way from Japan with him. I hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you forgetting the enormous Daruma doll that you brought in your luggage? I know what you use it for. Well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad. I just want a lucky charm. And no, I'm not doing anything inappropriate with it. What are you thinking? Well, I imagine Mr. Natsumi wanted the same. And this cat is sure to beckon good luck to him. It's not doing a very good job so far, is it? You mustn't say such things. I didn't say a word. Why are my eyes such a giveaway? She's about to murder me again. Taste the floor, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, there he is. Alright. Are we ready for this? Give me a second. Okay. Ah, look, Mr. Naruhodo is the greatest character. Aha, there he is. Where did he appear from? He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope he won't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, you two. Good day. Now, let me see. Where was it that we met? Oh, Mr. Sholmes. We were together on the SS Booyah. Yes, of course. The Booyah. And let me see. What happened on that voyage? It was Kazuma Asogi. He died. Tragically and silly. But you were a great help to us. Ah, yes, but of course. The case of Mr. Asogi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it? Oh. Well, you seem to remember something of it, at least. What an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Hairlock Sholmes. This is Mr... Oh, no, my dear madame. Hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain attic. I have an attic in my brain. Miss Naruhodo. Oh. Damn it. Sholmes. Miss Naruhodo. And Mr. Susato. Try the other way around, Mr. Sholmes. I lose the first round. This guy. In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street suite the day we arrived in London. But some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 30 minutes. so we apprehended Soseki-san in that short an amount of time? I'm afraid the pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvements a little. A little? It is a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls and can distend to any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they should elbow out the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of intimidable wisdom, you know. From an adventure entitled A Study in Scarlet. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately, my associate pens them beautifully. He means Iris, I suppose. Mr. Sholmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned. Goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madame, I should be only too pleased. And this murky room is an apt place to discuss a murky case. Hey, Mr. Sholmes, want to look at my armband? Mr. Naruhodo, please. Despite aspersions to the contrary, I am a professional. If I am to unleash my deductive powers on that trinket, I must ask for a sum of £3 in cash. Oh, I don't need you to make any deductions about it. I was just wondering if you might know, if you might think it's kind of cool, you know? Mr. Naruhodo, as a professional, I insist, but if I am to offer my opinion on that trinket, I must ask for a sum of £3 in cash. I believe Mr. Sholmes has his eye on an expensive copy of the complete works of Shakespeare. Yes, to stand on the stage and amid rapturous applause. That has long been a dream of mine, as you know. I literally had no idea. Alright, well let's just talk with him. We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. It seemed that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road. Natsume. Yes, I believe it was a name rather along those lines. But Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little? I'm sorry, Miss Susato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean. What? I can't believe he was looking for Susato-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance. I assure you, I am not merely feigning ignorance. It would appear as if the pair of you are under some misapprehension. Oh? How? I assure you I have no recollection of accusing your stooped compatriot of the crime. But that doesn't make sense. The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request of me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene. Ah, a man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement at the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there is a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. So you don't think Mr. Oh, yeah, voice is cracking. So you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit then? That I could not tell you. But it was aggravating my faculties, hence why I returned here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books. I found myself quite lost in bibliophilia. Do not be deceived into believing that I am a man of leisure. No, no, no. Oh dear. Ah, tell me, have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yes, Mr. Garadeb, a retired military man. It was the first time I've ever met a soldier from the great British institution that is, the services. And it was the first time I've ever met a maid from the great British institution that is, service of a particular kind. Yes, we'll just leave it at that. I didn't think it was that funny. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid. Yes, I read as much in my Great Britain primer. And so, conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling within. Betoken their social standing. Sorry? Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family. Goodness, how extraordinary. As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. Maids are very important. I had no idea. Their social standing in Great Britain is entirely tied to how many maids you have. Nothing else, just how many maids you have. Okay. I'm not sure if that's exactly accurate, but we'll go with it. And it is precisely for that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Specifically, in the retired Army veteran, Mr. John Garadeb. Oh? Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am as yet unable to ascertain. I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say. I still think the maid is more suspicious, but they kind of both equally are. Excuse me. This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later. That's kind of presumptuous, I would say. Mr. Natsumi has stabbed no one. Ah, but sooner or later, as I said. I don't believe that's the issue here. About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. You know, red, rectangular building materials. Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. Window tax? What is that? That. Surely, not a tax on windows. Precisely that. Oh my goodness. Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home perhaps, rapidly closed windows up. While the rich opened windows here, there, and everywhere. in an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money. How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light. Indeed, disease was rife as a result. So some 40 years ago, or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsumi's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. It would appear so. I've done a little digging in the books, and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price. Because the room is so awful, I should think. Apparently, Mr. Natsumi only moved in here about 1 week ago. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. Oh? Still, that is of very little relevance here. A matter not worthy of further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Well, I believe I've told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? You remembered that, did you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsumi, was it? I'm not sure. Not sure? On what grounds? Well, I actually start over there. Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday. Really? Well then, I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized, and so promptly, too. The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? Yes. Trust. Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Natsumi didn't do it, did he? I'm only kidding. Of course he did. My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea. Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? Ah, yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room, and there are witnesses who swear to having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, what is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us. I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Garadeb is? Mr. Sholmes said as much before, actually, didn't he? Yeah, he did. Already. Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruhodo, as yet our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsumi's innocence. No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Garadeb's secret. Or secrets. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. I must be off. Vanish. A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes. Yes, so true. To be or not to be? That is indeed the question, Mr. Naruhodo. To be or not to be brushed off, that is the question. And the answer is all too clear. Let's leave Mr. Sholmes in peace, shall we? Sure. Could you even call this a window? I think so. It was a window at one time, after all. Although all that remains is a frame around some bricks now. So really, it's just a wall then, isn't it? Why would anyone deliberately brick it up like that? Mr. Sholmes has explained it to you. I'm afraid I have no idea. Ah, perhaps Mr. Natsumi painted the brick design on in a fit of whimsy. That's alarmingly feasible. Anyway, whatever the reason, the lack of ventilation in here makes the place very oppressive. And it smells like cat poop in here. We should probably leave. It does. I imagine being cooped up in a room like this would be extremely trying. Ah, you pair again. Tell me, was the defendant chap, I forgot his name, still hard at work down there? Mr. Sherlock Sholmes. Ah yes, rings a vague bell. All that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there. Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, Joan. In my cup this time, not all over me. Now then, why don't you tell me what did I just say, woman? For the umpteenth time, woman, will you watch what you're bally well doing? Shall we be serving dinner shortly, sir? Yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave if you'd be so kind. Before my gonads melt. Oh yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for all your assistance. Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourselves. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garadeb is hiding something. And since no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment, perhaps we should do some digging. Or we should just ask Mr. Sholmes, who is like right there at the window. He just appears. He just appears. Ah, what's he doing over there? Mr. Sholmes. Ah, we meet again, my dear fellows. Good gracious, what did you sneak in here? Sherlock Sholmes, sir. At your service. Whatever were you doing over by the window? I am given to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madame. Yet sadly, cheerful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks an aperture for such observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space by the window up here. Well, keeping an eye to one's windows at dusk is a prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. Ah, And one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, me? I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective's great mind. Get it? Great mind, great detective. Yes. Wait, he's not talking about... Is he? I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon. Oh no, we're gonna join forces in the power of deduction again. Oh no. It's that time again. Do you mean, Mr. Sholmes, it's time for spotlight time? There is a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo, for our dance of deduction? I think so. There is just time enough for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let us conclude the matter before dark. Dance of deduction. Mr. Garradeb, though it would seem you are a military man of considerably distinguished service, your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call first-rate. I'm afraid, sir, that it is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I have been able to draw by a careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon. The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. What the hell is he talking about? And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. Mr. Naruhodo, look. The old man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Sholmes' conclusions are both spot on. Are they? Probably not. How could you possibly... How could I possibly know, you mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of beasts. And I know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular, the Trinidad sequel. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on a rampage of late within these four walls. Thus, we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? For a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garradeb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by the lion statue. Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best. A fact that has been fueled your... Excuse me. A fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts. What is this piffle, I ask you? In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house. What? He has a scar on his other side of his head, too. Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well... Yet, as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madame? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is? Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show. Ah. Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Gerardeb, at Batty's Circus, a traveling show currently sojourning in a nearby park. I have observed the tents. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. Also, is there like a giant black blotch underneath the screen there? The folding screen in the back. I just kind of noticed that. Is that from a fire? I'm kind of wondering that right now. I most certainly did not. I believe I have made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion. And a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. A rampaging lion. Asiatic lion. Now, Mr. Gerardeb, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage. Nonsense, man. I simply... But what, we must now ask ourselves, is the true cause of this pain? And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. That maid only has like one eye open. Yes. It is this pile of bills that gives rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has had a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. And so you had no choice but to let it go. Yes, well, Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be seen clearly by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken. Oh, dearie me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madame, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wondering eyes have settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it, or was it not once said by a certain noble woman, "If they have no bread, let them eat cake"? Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact. Whatever do you mean? Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There is only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. What? Why would you... How would you come to that conclusion? Joke. Why would you... Okay, Mr. Sholmes. Okay. Okay, we're gonna have to do some course correction here. I don't follow the logic here where you got that from, but okay. The teeth marks in the carpet are perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. Really, you saw lions eat carpets in India? Carpet-eating lions. The first I've ever heard of those. Carpet not on by the starving lion, okay. Thus concludes Herr Sholmes' great deduction of this beastly puzzle. Are you impressed? Be impressed, please. Please be impressed. Gah! What is the matter with you, Joan? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me. I don't have any privates left now. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garradeb. I'm afraid I didn't notice. My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times too. Oh. Mr. Sholmes. Sorry to butt in again, but could I make an observation? Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it? Again? Well, your deductions just now. Do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room of this size? Indeed, it is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense. But wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well? You know, let's consider the possible first before we start considering the impossible here. Yeah. But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garradeb and his maid would have been hurt, or worse. Ah, that's where you are stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon. What? Isn't that at close range like that, man? Come on. Close range. I thought you said that they sold the lion to the circus. And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe I've ever heard of a lion that drinks tea. Ah, my dear Miss Suzato, it occurs to me with some regularity, that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on great British soil, they are infused of a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea. Oh, what a glorious notion. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again. It's time for afternoon tea. I had a feeling that was coming. A slight massage. That's all Mr. Sholmes' deductions need. You can do it! Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. We don't even know yet whether or not this is going to help us in Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. We are here in pursuit of the truth, remember. Truth. Truth! At least that's what I want to believe. Let us start again. From the beginning. Of Herlock Sholmes, logic and reasoning spectacular. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Now, what exactly is he actually looking at there? Lion statue. Obviously, it's not the lion statue. It's gotta be something else. I really didn't see the lion thing coming. No, but if you observe Mr. Garredeb's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok here in this room. Yes, something of a very fierce nature. But it couldn't have been a lion transported from India. So what was it then? We must follow Mr. Garredeb's gaze. That will lead us to the true answer. I'm wondering if it was the cat. Mortar shells. Yes. Well, we can look at this, I guess. Well, this is the lion statue Mr. Sholmes picked out. Yes, I wonder. Perhaps if you did live with a lion, it would prove to be a rather sweet companion. No, it wouldn't. I think that's like a mouse trying to tell its family that the cat around the house is sweet. I suppose it is a bit of a flight of fancy, isn't it? Anyway, the beast we're looking for is something else. Let's have a good look around. Oh, okay, so I can't angle this. Alright. Oh, there's a picture back here. That's probably what we're looking at. Look at these mortar shells. These are shells for the cannon, are they? What a strange place to keep them, like right above the fire. It's probably not the best place to keep them. Also, they're gonna roll right off the mantle there and just land on the floor with a loud crash and probably roll into the fire. I imagine they have some significance to Mr. Garredeb from his time in the army. Ah, of course. He mentioned a battle to us before, didn't he? Do you remember? He said he'd been shot in the knee. Perhaps it was one of these that hit him. Why would you think he got shot in the knee by one of these? If he got shot in the knee, not only would he have, like, no knee, there probably would not be a Mr. Garredeb at all. Also, why did the British Army allow him to keep shells and a cannon in his apartment? That seems like a bit of an unnecessary danger in the middle of the city. Like, I mean, I can probably almost plausibly see maybe letting him have the cannon, but to let him have the ammunition too? That doesn't really fly. I don't see that happening. If a round that size had hit his knee, there'd be nothing left of it, or Mr. Garrideb for that matter. As I just said, Mr. Sholmes has a Persian slipper, and this man has spent shells. Oh, they are spent shells. They don't look like spent shells. Well, actually, no. Okay, they are the shells. They don't have the actual gunpowder attached to them. Okay, so maybe he doesn't have the gunpowder for him. And this man has spent shells past his customary britain to display, well, rubbish on the mantelpiece. It's rubbish. Alright, what is this picture here? What is that? What's this photograph? It appears to be from Mr. Garrideb's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he? He does, but you can't make out his bride. Huh. I wonder... Is it the maid? I'm gonna leave like a little footnote on that thought. We may revisit that later. He does, but you can't make out his bride. No, how unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face. I wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply there. Garrideb. This must have been when Mr. Garrideb was still in the army. He seems to be carrying his rather stout bride effortlessly, and beaming a smile at the same time. I suppose he was very strong in his younger years. Hard to imagine now. He's as thin as a rake. Glass is broken, so you can't see the bride's face at all. But no amount of cracks could hide the woman's plump form. I think powerful would be kinder than plump, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, he certainly looks that. There's a lot of horsepower there. Not someone you'd want to upset, that's for sure. Oh look, have you noticed her wedding ring? It's very large, isn't it? Yes, that's an unusual design. It looks like some sort of embellished sunflower. Clue. Okay, I'm gonna think that maybe... Well, I can't really save. I think it's probably this. I'm gonna go with that. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that newlywed bride. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. Yes, this framed print pictures your wife, Mr. Garrideb. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make out her mighty arms, and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. What is it with the horsepower in the arms? You can say they're muscular or stout, but I wouldn't say horsepower in the arms, whatever. And I'm trying to look at the maid's hand here. Don't see anything. Oh, indeed. Surely any woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a beast. Honored might be stretching the point. Too late. The fact remains that the beast, which is so clearly savage for this room, was your wife, Mr. Garrideb. Yeah. Like they're clearly hiding her left hand. So I just want to see if her left hand moves up just a little bit. Let's examine. Examine. The poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself. Well, I don't know about fragile. Oh dear. Are you going there, Mr. Naruhodo? Come on. Anyway, Mr. Sholmes is quite right. There's no sign of a Mrs. Garradeb anywhere. But it seems there may be a clue as to her whereabouts in this very room. A clue that this maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Mr. Garradeb's wife could be. Maybe she's like right here. Ta-da! There's the ring. I see it. Alright. Let's examine some of the other stuff first. What a charming little teapot. And it's in pristine condition and it has infinite tea in it. Joan has been pouring some deliciously fragrant tea from Mr. Garradeb, hasn't she? She's been pouring it right into his crotch, repeatedly. Well, not so much for Mr. Garradeb, as on Mr. Garradeb, wouldn't you say? I wouldn't dream of drawing attention to that. Two tightly shut eyes to avoid even the chance of a giveaway glance. Pursed lips to prevent any secrets from slipping out. Rounded cheeks to deflect any abuse that might be hurled her way. Yes, this is an unnervingly powerful woman, Miss Susato. It's your turn of phrase that's unnerving, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't judge. Don't judge, Mr. Naruhodo. Don't look at her ass, either. I will judo chop you. I want to see what's in the pocket anyway. That certainly does appear to be a circus handbill poking out from her pocket. Betty's Circus, currently performing shows in a park not far from here. You don't think... Surely Mr. Garradeb didn't sell his wife to the circus. Mr. Naruhodo, how could you even think such a thing? I was only joking. Besides, I would have gone with, do you think he fed her to his pet lion? That's somehow worse. She's wearing a very large ring. Look. Oh yes, a sunflower design with some rather nice embellishments. And it's on the ring finger of her left hand, which means... it's surely a wedding ring. It looks like it's on there for life, too. I can't imagine it would slide off a finger of that size. That's something to think, Mr. Naruhodo, not to say. Do you know Mr. Garradeb's wife in the photograph had a ring very much like this one? Oh, do you know Mr. Garradeb's wife in the photo had a wing very much like this one? It was a large sunflower design as well. Really? You have a great memory for those things. Actually, I remember that too. I have a great memory too. A large sunflower wedding ring. Where have I seen that before? It's quite a coincidence that they have the same ring, isn't it? Isn't it?
Take that!
Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. For it is identical to the one shown on the hand of Mr. Garradeb's bride in this photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. No. You are Mr. Garradeb's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Garradeb herself. Oh my word! Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightly surmise, this is the wife, yes, my Joanne. Rather let herself go, you might say, but she was a volley quarterback. Ah! It would appear you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you are a retired army man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms. I would assume, therefore, that you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? It's not right, I tell you. I was second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? By golly, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maiden as a boy. All my social standing is tied to having a maid. So unfair in this country. Yes, here in London one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are a folly. You mean Mr. Garrideb and has his wife work as his maid? Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Garrideb? Only in company, obviously. But listen here. This must remain a secret. Tip-top secret. Please. Alright, so the lion thing has been disproven. I'm gonna get to the second half of this. Now, Mr. Garrideb. Plainly appears certainly feeling for the formidable beast. Mr. Sholmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garrideb's wife a beast. Yes, as a woman that feels rather uncomfortable. Oh, you can be a beast in bed, Susato, if you want to. I won't tell anyone. you didn't hear that. But Mr. Garrideb is standing beside her husband. Mrs. Garrideb is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? Oh, how true. So perhaps that supporting arm that seems to be propping up his head has some other significance then. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrideb's pain is tangible, though. What could that pose of his really signify? A scar on his face? That looks like a handprint. That is a big handprint. Oh look, he has a moon ring. Oh, their wedding rings are like, she has a sunflower and he has a moon. Interesting. Irrelevant to the case though, but okay, whatever. Mr. Garrideb certainly looks glum. According to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, that's because he's having to endure the acute pain of losing something dear to him. But we know that he hasn't lost his wife. So that means there must be some other cause for the pain he's suffering. It's all of a hot tea that's been poured onto his nuts. Oh my, look at that bright red mark. Gosh, that's quite something. And clearly made by somebody's hand. Yes, Mr. Garrideb has been slapped on the face, it seems. Hard. Never seen such a clearly defined mark. Whoever could have done such a thing? Well, there's a very limited number of candidates, I'd say.
Take that!
Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders. The pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek. And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade. Was you, Madame Joanne Garradet. Well, yes. You have been desperate to hide the slap mark on your cheek, sir. Ah. How the blazes... How did you work that out, man? Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. To keep your other side from view. Well, Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Garradet to fly into a rage. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Okay, it's probably not that. Bills. Didn't Mr. Sholmes say the bills were all for lion fodder? Yes, but now we've established that the lion never existed. Which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was the beast of Mr. Gottreb's room. Was Mr. Garradet's wife. Mr. Naruhodo, she's a person, not a thing. Don't you dare do fat shaming. It's way too early in time for that. Yes, well, she's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap around the face. One so hard that it left a perfect hand mark, in fact. Yes, why would a woman want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder? I'd love to know the answer to that question. Alright, so what do we have here? There's a book. Plate. Several broken plates, in fact. Stack of books. Oh. 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 I see. He was having a naughty time with somebody else. Looking at these bills, it certainly amounts to a great deal of food. Meat and potatoes by the cartload, wasn't it? Well, looking at the two of them, you can tell immediately who eats the lion's share in the household. Well, at least we're no longer talking about an actual lion anymore. Oh dear, this plate has been smashed to pieces. And nobody seems inclined to tidy up the mess. I think I should probably do that. Perhaps it's some sort of high art. No, it's not. Really, Mr. Naruhodo? Really? Well, anyone who has a cannon on display in the living room is certainly a little eccentric. Yes, let's call it eccentricity. 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 Anything else here? Stack of books. There are a lot of books stacked up on the shelf here. Look. All novels I've never heard of, and probably never will hear of ever again. It would appear somebody has purchased them all from a second-hand bookshop. Gee, I wonder which one. I think Mr. Garradet is something of a book lover. What do you think? Ah, someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here, look. Mr. Geradev is clearly an avid reader. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. Oh no, so it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. And look next to the signature here. Lip marks made with lipstick. Real lipstick. Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture. Don't get any ideas, Susato-san. Oh dear, I'm sorry. I got a little overexcited. So this bookmark is actually a love note then.
Take that!
Yes, it is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed, and very brief. Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is the fly in the ointment here. But I don't know the Bali woman. You don't know her. That note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there. I wonder what the name of the book is. It was just in there, you say? That's right, that's what I've been saying. A likely story? Now listen here, Joan, old thing. I explained at the time. I brought the book at the second-hand place, and that note must have already been in there. So the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean? Wait for it. Wait for it. I'm gonna hold you in infinite suspense as infinite tea is poured out. Just waiting to billow a boiling hot tea. I'm about to melt this man to his bones. That's right, that's what I've been saying. Unlikely story. For heaven's sakes, woman, look at the name. It's written to James. My name, in case you've forgotten, is John. Unlikely story. Are you questioning my name now? And there we have it. Arouse the suspicions of the female heart, and you unleash a beast with a most ferocious bite. Can't feel my feet anymore. Now, in a final fit of rage, the Rose of carry one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The carpet was burned. Obviously it's the candlestick, because we already noticed that before. But surely Mrs. Geradev didn't eat the carpet. That would be... That wouldn't be something we would want to say. And yes, she ate the carpets of eating the carpet. No, of course not. But there doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray that this room is in is as a result of her wild temper. No, that's not... No, that's true. So this is the last part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction that we need to fix. We need only to follow Mrs. Geradev's gaze, and that will tell us the real answer. Alright, let's see what we can see. Yes. This is an advertising handbill for the circus. Batty's Circus. Batty's Circus is in a nearby park. Isn't this the same as the one we saw earlier? The one that was folded up in Mr. Garradeb's pocket? Perhaps they're very great circus lovers. It couldn't be that the Hungry Lion is somehow involved again here, could it? Oh dear, I do hope not. All the cakes. Ah, so many cakes. Ah, is that all you can think about? Well, look at them, Mr. Naruhodo. There's a mountain of them, and they all look so delicious. I must eat them all right now. It's more of a tower than a mountain, I'd say. It's a mountain. And it's my hope that one day, in our very homeland, we will have a mountain of delicious cakes in Japan. I will be able to perform the tea ceremony at the foot of such a mountain. It's definitely a tower. Just the same. This looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it? The base looks too small. Surely it's very unstable. It looks to me like even the slightest knock would make it topple over. Oh dear, that would be dangerous. Wait, take a close look at this. There's one candle missing. Where could it be? Yes, I didn't notice that before. Why is that, I wonder? Why is one candle of the three missing from its holder? Because it's on the floor over here. The carpet here has been ripped to shreds. Yes, and according to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, the tears match those made by an Indian lion's teeth exactly. I don't know how he would figure that out. Oh, look here. What is it? If you look closely at the edge, you can see scorch marks. Oh yes, so you can. In that case, perhaps the carpet wasn't eaten in the normal sense at all. Let's rethink with this in mind. Can I examine the candle? No, I'm just going to talk about the carpet again. I could present probably either the candle or the carpet, but I think I'm going to present the candlestick, because I think that's where she was looking.
Take that!
Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the candlestick. Most illuminating, my dear fellow, and of course the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth. Yes, the remnants of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Indeed they are. Indeed they are. The scorch marks at the edge clearly give the truth away. Scorch marks? It would appear that this room was the scene of a little martial altercation. Mrs. Garradeb's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused the candle to fall from the holder. The mighty blow of this woman just shook the entire building. Wham! And in seconds the carpet was alight, and the whole corner of the room in flames. Yes, For the most ferocious beast in this world is neither a violent lion, nor a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow. As you see, there is but one conclusion here. After the sparks of martial discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire. Mr. Sholmes, sir, I salute you! History's dashed long winter nights, you know. Nothing to do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there. And in the pages of one particular novel, you discover some rather illicit material. For which your wife admonished you harshly, it seems. Don't know about admonished. Demolished might be rather closer to the mark. And Beast is most certainly an apt God damn it, woman, I have nothing left down there. Here we go again. And the carpet? Was that destroyed by fire when a candle fell on the floor? Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. I was caught between the old stick's rage and the raging flames. You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining. That's sympathy for you. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. We've had to hide the mess behind that screen for the time being. Over here, Mr. Garridev? Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you'll allow me. Ta-da! Had all my favorite old novels in that case. But as soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh! Up in smoke. Gosh. Then the wife started hurling things at me. What a terrible sight it must have been. There I was, back up against the window, under heavy enemy fire. Incendiary books coming 10 to a dozen. Worst of it is, I lost my favorite book called The Lion's Pride. The Lion's Pride? Oh yes, your notorious love of big cats coming through again. I assure you the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest. So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the ferocious beast rampage. Mr. Sholmes' deductions turned out to be the correct ones again. No, Suzato, my deductions were correct again, not his. He was wrong. I was right. Give me some credit. Give Naruhodo some credit. It can only be described as a great British wonder. I tell you, it was total carnage, flames everywhere, and the old stick in the full petal. Out of interest, what time of day was that? Not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see, around 5 o'clock, I think. Around 5. So at exactly the same time as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window on the street below. Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. The whole of Blighty could have been flattened outside my window at that moment, and I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing. Oh, really? Mr. Sholmes? Yes, Mr. Naruhodo? What can I do for you? Well, I think we've got to the bottom of Mr. Garradeb's situation now. But what does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances? I can't help you there, I'm afraid. What? My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that although I knew the retired army man to be hiding something, I could not be sure whether his secret would prove to be of any relevance or not. I just knew you were going to say that. Now, Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one of only two categories, those relevant to the case and those not. That makes no sense to me. Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your mind now. Sorry? Visiting hours at the prison Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over. Oh no, is that time already? If we're to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have official paperwork to attend to. So that's it. No more time to think. Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell now? I must prepare supper for Mr. Garradeb. Oh yes, I'm so sorry. Thank you both very much for your time. Soseki-san will be waiting for us, and I'm going to have to give him an answer. I'm sorry, chap, you're on your own. We got nothing. Oh, actually, no, that's not entirely true. Let's see. Do a quick save here. I think I'm getting close to the end of this part, which will be good, so we'll probably try and finish this part up, you know. Kind of feeling like I'm gonna take a break from this. So let's go talk to our man in prison. Briar Road. Oh wait, why are we at Briar Road? It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. We must hurry back to the prison. Yes, I know. Let's hail a car. Oh, wait, we don't have cars in this time, do we? My bad. Oh. Well, what's the matter? It looks like something's going on over here in front of in front of the Garradeb's house. Like we just stepped out of here and didn't notice that. What the fuck is this? Okay, how am I gonna voice this dude? I know thee not, old man, fall to thy prayers. Who are you calling an old man, you rum-looking ninny-pinny? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than the dreamed of in your philosophy. Who is this Horatio fellow, eh? What do you want about? This guy is a regular Popeye, the Sailor Man, dude. Excuse me. Eh? What the? Who are you now? I'm sorry, it just looked as though there might be some problem here. And my associate here, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see. Eh? A lawyer? What? If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I have studied English law. Unfortunately, I don't have time for this right now because I have another client I need to get to, so why don't you just... Here's my card, you can call me if you need to. Well, actually, you don't have phones anyway, I don't think so. But we'll get to this later because we have another client to get to, Suzato, so let's be on our way. We don't have time for this right now. Tisk. Fine. Be on my way for today. But you mark my words. This ain't over yet. Get thee to a nunnery? Do I look like a bloomin' nun to you? I do hope you're not injured. Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle. Thank you. What was that all about? There are more things on heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. I'm not Horatio either. Forget the inquiry, sir, but... Are you a lodger here? In the Karadeb residence? Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. Mr. Karadeb mentioned that he had another lodger, didn't he? A very weird one. This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor? Ah, yes, a gentleman named Natsume. Oh, more worthy a polemist in my battle of words ne'er could there be. Sorry, battle did you say? Who is the stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night. I see. I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at the least. So, fair maiden, so good gentleman, I can tarry here no longer. Fare thee well. I didn't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room. It seems he's unaware of what's happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. When Soseki selling that man as lodgers, the Karadeb house is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go and find a carriage. Not a car, like a carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly awaiting a return. Let's hope we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over. To the carriage! Oh, it's you. You're here. You came. Locum student Mr. Norhodo Esquire. I can't believe you came back. I'm so touched. We are so sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume. Oh no, think nothing of it. Relax. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, never failing Nipponese. Oh, now, let's not get carried away. Oh, I quite agree. There is nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. Who is this? On the other hand... Oh, it's him. It is through friendship, transcending international borders, that one truly appreciates the fact. Such is my belief, at least. It's you. The miserable, rotten spy. Hairlock Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here? I have no intention of doing anything, per se. Save observing, of course. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Well, having encountered some curious reading material in that gloomful room, and having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how our divested friend is faring. Gloomful room? At least your accommodation here offers a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it is the superior option. It's not much of a window. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight, and cost me not a penny. Ah, you! How dare you! Hairlock Sholmes! Ugh. I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I should never have come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings. No doubt my luck will be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life is bedamned. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm thinking his case is fucked. He mentioned that once before, didn't he? That his lodgings were cursed, I mean. And there is much truth in Mr. Mustachio's words. What? Cursed is a wholly appropriate description, I would say. For the man's lodgings, and indeed for tomorrow's trial. What's that supposed to mean? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna ask him about this. Let's go to purpose. We found this receipt in your room, Mr. Natsumi. That's right. I went out to buy some new old books. New old books. They're old, but they're new. Isn't that a contradiction in terms? And it was on your way back to your room that you saw the woman being stabbed. She's dead! I thought to myself, she's dead! My mind went completely blank. But before I knew it, I was back in my room, trembling like a leaf. A bookworm hoping to worm his way out of a bad situation? Mr. Naruhodo, please do be careful not to think of such disparaging thoughts. Remember, I can read your mind. How could you possibly know? Mr. Natsumi, what did you mean by what you said just now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed? Oh no, what? Why are you looking so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it. Oh, I see. That's really agitated him. You don't mean the trial really is cursed somehow? Are you referring to the prosecutor? The Reaper of the Bailey? The Reaper? Oh no, what do you mean? Please tell me, summarize it succinctly in 16 salient words. No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution. Ever. 2, 3. 16. Yep, that's 16 words exactly. Oh my goodness, that cannot really be true. That was 16 words exactly. Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper. But then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. They were burned alive to death in a carriage. Let's just say it. Mr. McGilded. He is now Mr. Well Done. What? What? Ah, I am impressed, Mr. Sato. You have an eye for detail. Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Sholmes, surely it can't be that having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Van Zeeks killed the man himself. Oh no, he couldn't have, surely. He is a vampire and he has, like, black magic. His ways are mysterious. You have some wondrous notions. Sorry? The man isn't a mass murderer. He's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow. Oh, yes. Why, of course he is. Of course he is. Then why are you trying to scare me? It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis. He is a vampire. He is of the undead. What on earth do you mean by that? Van Zieks is a quite exceptional man. However, exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception. That's not good. That's not good, no. Soseki-san looks like he's going to cry tears of joy. As you are no doubt aware, in a British criminal trial, there is both a judge and a jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It is an excellent system, whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated. Right. Criminals, and corrupt lawyers for that matter, can use it to their advantage. By any means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling impostors as witnesses, and so on. By such underhanded means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury. Which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail. But it means the wrong verdict can be passed. And sadly, is from time to time, my dear madame. It is simply the reality of the situation. And that's alright. However, those indicted by Lord Van Zieks cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed. Oh my. Though the education may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom, within months they all disappear. It is most striking. Disappear? But how? Ah, by all manner of misfortune, sir. Perhaps they are trampled under a passing carriage. Perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown. Perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever. Or perhaps attacked by highwaymen. No. All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo. All of it a bit too coincidental. I knew it. I'm a dead dodo, done for, doomed. When you said accursed lodgings before, you were referring to your room at Mr. Garadeb's house, I assume. Do you mean to say you believe the place is cursed? It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain. But I'd only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself. That didn't take long then. Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me, all the time, from dawn till dusk. So I shut myself away in my room. But even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away. You must have been very lonely, having been away from your homeland for such a long time. I've had to move a number of times, most recently to that room on Briar Road a week ago now. Yes, why did you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient. The rent is cheap. I have so little money. It appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed." Oops. He quickly tried to cover up his mistake, but it was too late. So I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it. But if not, don't mention it in the first place." Yes, well said. But it was true. It was all true. You mean, the room really is cursed then? Ever since I moved into that windowless hellhole. My sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I wake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. In my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer, thrown into prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. If only there was someone, just one person on my side. Can no one find it in his or her heart to believe in me? Really, no one at all. To believe. Yes, to believe. To believe in something. Mr. Sholmes. Ah, me, Mr. Naruhodo. Pray, what can I do for you? It's about the case on the SS Burya, if you recall. The Burya. The Burya. Ah, that case. The one with the snake. Well, yes. At that time, I was the suspect, but you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. And you helped us to investigate. Even though you kept putting chains on me every now and then, I didn't really appreciate that. It made me look guilty. I did. Did I? Interesting. What I want to know is, why? Why did you believe me? I see, yes. You mean... because you are a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in a locked room. Well, if you like, yes. I'm a little surprised that the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said, I didn't do it. But I could have been lying. Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little. I think perhaps you have misunderstood. I never recall believing in you, nor in that which you were telling me. What? You see, the only things I believe in are those I choose to believe in. What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Do you believe in the flat earth theory? Too? And it just is? I make up my own mind about what is to be believed and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang as far as as far as I am concerned. But I could have betrayed your trust. In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion. Meaning, whether or not one should trust another is, in the final analysis, down to oneself. It is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself. Yes, he's right! He's right! Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Whether or not I can believe myself. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. As old Kazuma would say. You were so right, Kazuma. Well, my dear fellows, it is time we were leaving, I believe. Already? The visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There is a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me? Trout. Yummy. Oh dear. There is never enough time, is there? Our client, maybe? Yes. Mr. Natsume. If you'd like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. As I said, I only experienced a British courtroom for the first time yesterday. And although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial. The truth. Something crucial. What to believe in. The defendant. Justice or the truth. How to believe even. But I think I finally worked it out. I decided I must believe in myself above all else. To trust my instincts. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. It's imperative that we prove that in court. Locum. Oh god, my voice is getting so torn up right now. I really hope this part is over with, because my voice can't keep up much longer. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I will fight for your innocence until the bitter end, with every weapon available to me. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow. As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me, in my native tongue. Of course, Mr. Natsume. It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was, in many ways, made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end. This man has no balls. He has nothing left. Miss Husado. Yes? Would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court? No! I'm going back home. Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant superhero lady. Yar. The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind. But it's time to start looking backwards. Kazuma believed in me, and Mr. Sholmes believes in me now too. So it's time. Time that I learned to believe in myself. Soseki-san has no one. He's all alone. So it's my job to help him, to fight his corner. Tomorrow, in the courtroom, with all the strength I can muster. To be continued? Yes, to be continued, thank you. Yes. Okay. So I don't know if that's going to be it for the investigation part. But we are going to trial tomorrow, which is usually the fun part for me. Yes, the trials. I do think I enjoy the trials more than the investigation parts. But yeah, really, my voice is just cracking so badly right now. Having to voice so many different characters and this part. Ugh, okay, anyway, yeah, that's gonna be it for tonight. I will continue this later in the week. So thank you for watching, and have a good night, and happy hunting on our trials and investigations when they come to be later on. So, alright, have a good night. Bye-bye. I need to give my voice a rest. So, yeah.